Conclusions are, in fact, necessary.
Deborah's here. We're going to chat in a few moments' time after we've heard from Lord Cameron, the Foreign Secretary, who was on the programme this morning. This is what he had to say about all sorts of things.
How are you going to fix the Middle East?
Well, I don't think there's any easy way of doing this, and the first thing to reflect on is the massive scale of the attack that Iran attempted on Israel. It was 301 weapons, 110 ballistic missiles, 40 cruise missiles. This was very significant. And so, of course, if you're sitting in Israel this morning, you're thinking quite rightly, we have every right to respond to this, and they do. But we are urging that they shouldn't escalate. In many ways, this has been a double defeat for Iran. The attack was an almost total failure, and they've revealed to the world that they are the malign influence in the region prepared to do this. So our hope is that there won't be a retaliatory response, and instead the world's focus should shift to Hamas. They still hold those hostages. They've been offered a deal that prisoners can be released from Israeli jails in return for some of those hostages, and there'll be a pause in the fighting. That's what needs to happen next, and that's what I hope we can focus on.
So Biden's saying take the win. That's the UK's view as well.
I think that's right. Look, I totally understand those in Israel who want to see more, but I think this is a time to think with head as well as heart, and to be smart as well as tough. And I think the smart thing to do is actually to recognise that Iran's attack was a failure. And we want to keep the focus on that, on Iran's malign influence, and actually pivot to looking at what's happening in Gaza and getting those hostages released, including, of course, the British nationals, you know, who've been there over 6 months.
Yeah, the US has reaffirmed its ironclad commitment to Israel. How far does the UK's commitment go?
Well, we are a supporter of Israel and a supporter of Israel's right to self-defence. Our role in the military operations, as it were, was very much to backfill for the United States in the operation we do jointly together against ISIL in Iraq and Syria. So we provided planes to do that so the Americans could do more over the skies of Israel. But at the same time, we said that, look, if there are drones coming from that region into or missiles into Israel, we'll shoot them down, and that's what our very skilled pilots did.
We'll do that again?
We will, if there was another Iran attack, Iran has said they're not going to attack again, and after the failure of their attack, I'm not surprised. But absolutely, no, we'll always keep these things under review. We're trying to avoid escalation, and the action we took alongside the Americans and others clearly has helped to stop that escalation. Because the Iran attack was an almost total failure.
Do you think Netanyahu has sound judgment?
I've known Prime Minister Netanyahu for over 20 years.
Right, so where do you start? Firstly, the hypocrisy, double standards, and it isn't an accident. It's how you spin things. You know, we don't have a Ministry of War. We have a Ministry of Defence. Although its business is war. It's how you frame shit. Iran isn't defending itself or retaliating. It's it's attacking Israel. Whereas Israel, we've got Israel's cocked down our throat for its right to defend itself. Has Iran got a right to defend itself? Israel literally, legally speaking, hurt Iran on its own soil with its embassy, the consulate in its embassy in Syria. I mean, the bullshit cannot stand up anymore. When is somebody going to come? And what annoys me is the whole institution of parliaments, because he's a fucking lord prick. I thought we'd get rid of him. The whole of these institutions just fall in line. There's nobody, George Galloway aside, in these institutions that stands up and calls any of this out at all. It's one big, what is it George Carlin says? It's one big motherfucking club, and we, who's got two thumbs and ain't in it, me and we ain't in it.
20 years, we've had many arguments and disagreements, but it's our job to work with the Israeli government to support them in their campaign to get rid of Hamas, and I think that's right. You can't expect Israel to live next door to a territory that is governed by people that carried out the October the 7th attacks. But our job...
Oh, my Lord, where do you start? See, the whole... like, this is why I can no longer get my knickers in a twist about the whole Israel-Palestine-Gaza thing, right? Because, see, if you actually start to give a shit, you will drive yourself motherfucking insane and think that you'll act crazy because you think the world is crazy because there's people like this standing up there and saying this stuff with a straight face, and it freaks you out, it triggers you like a motherfucker because you're just like, no! And then you fucking end up at a pro-Palestine fucking march or something and realise that's a big pissing competition, just like probably the Tommy Robinson pro... What the fuck, what's their marches, what do they brand their cult as? Anti-Semitic. Is that what it is? I'm pretty sure it's... We're anti-Semitic. We're against that. We're anti-Semitism. Oh, woo! Fucking alphabeti spaghetti. It's beautiful. Anyway, let's get back to Slice Ham Face.
Job is to work with the Israeli government. We'll have our disagreements. We have some very tough conversations with them. For instance, about the need to get aid into Gaza, where I've been extremely tough with them about that. But I think right...
Yeah, see, getting aid into Gaza, it's akin to fattening up a fucking pig before slaughtering it. Only this time you ain't even going to fucking eat them. What are they? See, like, you cannot, at me, you do what you want, I cannot deal or comprehend or try and process this piss without just absolutely breaking out in fits of laughter and taking the piss out of it, because it's an absolute joke.
Because the situation in Gaza is unacceptable. There are too many people going hungry. There are too many people that can't get water and medicine. Now, the Israelis have now said 500 trucks a day, opening the port of Ashdod, getting more aid in. That's hugely helpful.
Give them vaccines before we kill them! It's a beautiful racket if you think about it. You're making the people well, and then you're selling the bombs and bullets to get the fucking shit, get those people killed, instead of just letting them die of fucking malnutrition or the fucking the flu or the cold. See, I would be humanitarian about it. I'd just fucking starve the fuckers out.
That I think was
I wouldn't, but that's because I wouldn't be. In fact, Machiavellian as fuck. You would work both angles. You would want to sell them the food, sell them the blankets, sell them the medicine, and then sell the other side the bombs, the bullets, the helicopters, the planes, the love bombs and bullets to kill the people. I mean, like, it's fucking genius.
To open up Gaza to
no, it's not genius, actually, man. It's been the way of the world for centuries, if no millennia.
I'm very pleased he said.
Pretty sure that there's some shit in that, like that, in the Bible.
Iranian sovereign territory.
That's something the Israelis decided to do. We haven't made a... I know, well, I'll answer the question, which is, I can completely understand the frustration the Israelis feel when they look at the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and they look at the terrible things that they have done all over the world, including the support they give to Hamas. And, of course, Hamas were responsible for October the 7th, and that is where all of this begins. So you can completely understand the frustration.
Yeah, but what about Iran's frustration at part of its sovereign territory being flattened?
Well, I would argue there is a massive degree of...
What would you argue? There's no fucking argument, you dick. I hate the fucking word soup. These fucking paid liars and fucking mass manipulators fucking do, man. But that's their job. And me getting fucking upset about it is... It's fruitless. Absolutely fruitless. So let's just laugh at this guy, know that he probably paid Soggy Biscuit at one point, and Boris Johnson was in his clique. Ugh. So I feel sorry for this guy, actually.
Difference between what Israel did in Damascus and, as I said, 301 weapons being...
So, right, so if it's all about numbers, let's count the bodies. Wait, what matters most, the amount of shite you flung at the wall, or the amount of shite that fucking hurt its target? You know, one bomb, 7 or 14 people or something in the Iranian consulate embassy thing in Damascus. And if Israel's to be believed, 300 odd fucking love bombs and bullets that Iran flung, and we shut down 99% of germs. Seal it, bang. Israel, bang. One spray and the drones are gone. 99% effective. It's literally half a fucking TV screen on it. Like a fucking you having a giraffe.
Being launched by the state of Iran at the state of Israel. For the first time, a state-on-state attack. 101 ballistic missiles, 36 cruise missiles, 185 drones. That is a degree of difference. Yeah. And I think a reckless and dangerous thing for Iran to have done. And I think the whole world can see all these countries that have somehow wondered, well, you know, what is the true nature of Iran? It's there in black and white.
What would Britain do if a hostile nation flattened one of our consulates?
It's there in black and white. Well, here, mate, welcome to the year welcome to the year 3000. Hey, this is called colour. Google colour. Interwebs. And, that is fucking David Cameron. He's a fucking piece of sliced fucking ham. Welcome to the year 3000. We've got Google images and they are in colour. So, right, if the 300 fucking sticks of dynamite, which there were nothing more than that, because what Iran done was launch the fucking worst of the worst of the worst of the worst that they got, man. These things were, what was it? I heard somebody going through the figures, right? The amount of shit that Israel has, tonnage-wise, that has dropped on Gaza since the October fucking bullcrap. 3 Hiroshimas. 3 Hiroshimas. What was it? 50 kilograms of explosive were on the drones. I don't know about the ballistic missiles. And then all the Western guys, all the Western countries had to come out with their fucking big military dicks like, woo! We were in the fight, man! We were in the fight! We had our Top Guns, RAF Top Guns, shooting down the drones, man! And then it show you all the black and white footage and you're like, fuck's sake, man, these planes cost that amount of money and you've still got CCTV footage for 1989? What's going on there? I call it a conspiracy. Anyway, right, so let's look at it. If it's Cameron wants to focus on the numbers, what about the dead bodies? Oh, I heard there was another really girl, 7-year-old that got a scratch. They had to throw fucking something into the mix, you know what I mean? But that must have been the 1% that got through. I think I worked this out, actually. I did work this out. Let's do it again. It's always worthwhile crunching the numbers. So they're out there saying they took down 99%. So 301, I think they said, right? So what's 1% of 301? That'd be 3. Times that by 99. That'd be 296. Like, got to round it up, 298. So that means that 3 got through. And out of 300, 3 got through. That's what Israel's claiming. And out of those 3, a girl got a scratch. A little girl got a scratch. Right, well, let's say aid workers vaporised. 80% of the fucking real estate whatever you want to call it, 80% of the buildings in Gaza gone. People who fucking stay there, 2 odd million still, fucking nowhere to stay, all rattled into Rafah, I think, which is now going to get rattled. And Israel's here dealing with that, in tents. I see that pile of rubble. Go and pitch a tent up on top of that. It's a bit smelly, man. Don't worry, it's the rotten corpses. But seeing the good fuck that, 20, 30 years, that'll be good for your compost. Anyway, let's get back to fucking the father of all parliaments, David Cameron. Lord sliced ham face.
Well, we would take the very strong action.
And Iran would say that that's what they did.
What they did, as I said, was a massive attack.
So they were right to respond, but they overreacted.
Whoa, massive! Whoa, Iran had this big military dugout, man. Woohoo! Right, let's talk numbers. As I said, we're going to talk about the amount of tons of munitions dropped. Never mind hitting their target. Never mind launched. Here, I flung a water balloon once, man, but it got shot down by a laser. Get your lasers in there, Cameron. Fucking ship your 8 lasers over to Israel as well, man, because they've got good fucking CCTV, man. We watch that shit.
Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that the attack they carried out was on a very large scale, much bigger than people expected.
Right to respond.
350 kilograms. It's 150 kilograms. That's 150 bags of sugar. Think of that. Right, so it's 150 bags of sugar. Fuck's sake, man. It's name bigger than the small table I've got down there. Got through, according to Israel, when remember Hamas lie all the time about facts and figures, but Israel don't get it. Got it. Right, what was I looking at? I just wanted to right, so look at the numbers. Oh, this was a massive attack. What the fuck is this then, you donut? What is this? This is self-defense. It's a fucking genocide. I mean, back in the day, man, when fucking people didn't dare say genocide against when talking about Israel because of fucking you would just get shot down, never mind fucking banned for social media. I was more than happy to go with ethnic cleansing. This is fucking ethnic cleansing. Fucking, is anybody even, and that's undebatable. The genocide thing is fucking wrapped up in legalese. That's how you decide a genocide. That's the difference between a genocide and self-defense. A fucking lawyer. A good lawyer. Oh, man.
Well, countries have a right to respond when they feel they've suffered an aggression. Of course they do. But look at the scale of that response. Had those weapons not been shot down...
But look at the scale of the response. I'm sorry, man, what the mention, like, and again, he knows what he's doing, he's paid to do this, but the hypocrisy, double standards, not only is it all so easy to see for everybody there, it's laughable. It's laughable that no longer can they bounce on the TVs and control the narrative, steer the public opinion. Public has fucking got too many rabbit holes out there to climb in now. Too many fucking talking heads talking pish.
But they're just overreacted.
There could have been thousands of casualties, including...
There could have been thousands of casualties. What about 30,000, mate? Oh, what? Oh, see, this is why I need to laugh. It's just too hard to give a fuck.
Civilian casualties. I think that's a really important point to take into account.
Aye, and I could have tripped up and with a hard dick and it could have landed right inside of me. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, something like that.
Let me talk to you about your role as Foreign Secretary, if I may. What was it like meeting Donald Trump after some of the undiplomatic things you said about him?
Well, I'm a diplomat now, so it's different. Look, I'm glad that I had the meeting. It's very much in line with the work foreign secretaries and prime ministers do. We meet leaders of the opposition in other countries. We meet potential future presidents. I remember meeting Mitt Romney when I was prime minister. That's what the meeting was about. We were discussing a range of things like Israel and Gaza, like Ukraine, perhaps particularly Ukraine. It was a private meeting, so I'm afraid, going to
I'm not going to
reveal,
ask you. I'm just the fact that you called him xenophobic, misogynistic, protectionist, stupid, wrong. Did he bring it up?
I'm not going to comment on the meeting, but
He
it
did,
was.
didn't he?
No, he didn't actually. If you're going to go down that route, it was a good meeting.
Have you changed your view?
I think the politicians, we all know there's a track record of things we've said about each other, but ultimately, Britain and America are important partners. We don't know who will be president after November. It's not for us to get involved. It's for the Americans to choose their president. We then work with them.
Before I let you go, do you remember this? I think we've got a clip.
I think you best tell the BBC, Sky News and ITN, mate. That's the only 3 news organisations we have on our council TVs, which pretty much still dominate the landscape. And now if you bounce onto YouTube and all that, it still is. It's the Sun, it's the Sun, the Daily Record, the Evening Times, YouTube channels that are fucking everywhere. YouTube! Should rebrand it.
Car coming up, number 10. Downing Street, I should say. I'm not quite sure who this might be. Security detail just opening the door for...
David Cameron? What?
Wait.
I was not expecting that.
Okay, you retire. I'm glad that clip will still be on your sort of roll, so I'm very pleased to have given you that
planned
moment.
that, didn't you?
Well, look, so often things leak in politics, and Rishi very kindly offered me this job, and I accepted, and remarkably, we managed to keep it secret. And I remember when I was summoned to Downing Street to have that formally happen.
I didn't expect it to be quite so soon after he'd offered you the position.
No, that's right. It was a bit of a surprise. But I parked the car. We parked the car around the corner, and I said, "Let's actually go further around the corner. We don't want to blow it at the last minute." And it was nice to be part of a surprise.
Yeah. Under which circumstances, under what circumstances would you consider becoming Prime Minister again?
None. I'm not applying for this job. I'm very happy.
Ah, come on, mate. I'll get a wee fucking 25 pence or 50 pence on you.
To be
no.
as Foreign Secretary.
No, why? It's Bobo Johnson and Nigel Farage.
He's always the best brief person in the room. He's got a phenomenal brain. And on issues like this, actually, he's a brilliant diplomat as well as a great leader. So it's a pleasure to work for him. And
when should he go to the country?
Whenever he thinks it's right.
When do you think it's right?
Well, we had the fixed-term Parliament Act.
He's got
so
he's a chinless wonder, but he's also got a touch of the
I think we've got
beaker,
a very strong
Muppet
record to
beaker
defend. And right now you can see
plus he's
taxes coming
Scottish.
down, inflation's coming down. That means over time interest rates will be coming down. People will see we've got a plan and the economy is improving, and the other side don't have a plan.
There you go. That was Lord Cameron speaking to us in the 7 o'clock hour this morning here on the Sky News. Deborah is here, as promised. Headlines for you?
Well, when he's talking about Rishi Sunak just then as being a great diplomat and a great leader, it really does seem as though it's David Cameron that's the guy out on the world stage dealing with these poly-crisis.
Hello, McFly. Hello, I don't want to defend any politician anywhere. He's a fucking foreign secretary, you fucking dumb broad. I want to bring that back. Bring back broads.
Crisis that we have. But obviously on the Iran strike, he was clearly really driving home that message that is made public to you, but also happening privately to Israel to take the win, as the Americans and now he is saying, in terms of their ability. They've defended this huge onslaught from Iran, this unprecedented attack. He's described it as a double defeat.
I know this is so easy to do and everybody can spot it and it gets a bit tiresome and stuff, right? But, like, these people are biased and you can tell how they're biased because they don't have they're told by their editors what buzzwords, what memes to put out there, how to frame things and stuff, and then you get put on there. They mix it up with a wee bit of personality and say what they're meant to be, what they're told, paid to say, and then boom shakalaka, you've got a talking head with the appearance of some independence. Now, anybody would say that what Israel done by attacking Iraq's embassy, its consulate at the embassy in Damascus, is an unprecedented attack, which completely goes against. It's never happened in the. Hold on, I don't want to misspeak here. As far as I'm aware, it's never happened before in the sense of a country attacking another country's embassy somewhere else. I think there was something down in London, but that was more a kidnapping thing, if memory serves, or some shit. And that was more wrapped up. Was that the Iranian embassy or something? Anywho, but it's the first time that a foreign nations flew in a missile or a plane or whatever it was and levelled an embassy, killing all sorts of senior people in the army. So they don't talk about that. They don't frame that attack as the way that they're framing this attack. So it's they frame the Iranian stuff one way and they frame the Israeli stuff another way to give the impression that Iran bad, Israel good. Like, and you'll hear it. They can't ignore the attack on the consulate, which ultimately was Iranian soil inside Syria. So Israel broke two people's sovereignty there, attacked two people, went into two people's sovereign land with no fucking, without being allowed. Nobody gave them the go ahead, and it's just it's pathetic how they frame it. And this talking head here, like, there'll be people out here that think she's just a normal person saying her opinion. They can't constantly hear all the same memes that get parroted by all the talking heads. So listen it out for them, and then we'll have a wee shifty around.
For Iran, they've not only didn't manage to inflict much harm on
any much harm. 99%, get the 99% in there. Because remember, Israel bang, one scoosh, and the drones are gone. 99% effective.
Israel, but also saw Israel's allies rallying to its defences, not just the US and the UK and France, but also Arab countries in the region too. That will not have gone unnoticed.
Yep, all the slaves. Right, come on, bitches. See all that hardware that we fucking gave you on loans to the International Monetary Fund? All those lovely air defences and all that. It's time for you to do what we say with them, okay, Abdul? Yep, that's right, bitch. Go and do what we say. Now! That's the Western's allies.
In Tehran. However, there is a reality here, isn't there, that Israel has come under this unprecedented attack. You asked, didn't you, repeatedly, whether he thought Benjamin Netanyahu was a person of sound judgment. And the response from David Cameron did give out a sense that he doesn't really think that his judgment is sound all that time. And when you're dealing with a leader under such pressure, his own job, of course, also very much on the line, then it must have an effect on sound judgment.
Yeah, let's see what happens next in this complex chess game in the Middle East.
What's complex about it? That hurting your pretty little head, hen? The way you need to frame fucking attack as defence and defence as attack? 1984, it's 2024, it's sequel, up is down, left is right. We've never been at war with Eurasia, biatches. Now go and fucking pay your Netflix, buy your McDonald's mock meat, and get to the supermarkets and buy your booze. Stay away from the pubs. Stay away from the pubs. You might get people saying shit that you might even get people hating on people in the boozers. You might even hear people talking about Irish people and calling them totty picking munchers. Or if you go to a stinking hellhole, you might even tell them to calling fucking Rangers fans Huns and orange bastards. Drunken hatred tells you need to stay away, lock yourself up in your house, get drunk off a fucking shit for the fucking supermarket, and continue to watch. Remember, don't watch your TV, watch social medias. But now social media's turned into look what the truth movement is. Where is it? Where are these fuckers and what are they talking about? They're talking about watching this shit and regurgitating this shit and then passing it off like, oh, I don't watch TV. Oh, it's mental. It's mental, like, where the world is now, man. It's fucking funny as fuck.
Still to come on The Breakfast Show. We'll be speaking to Middle East and North Africa.
Yeah, you gotta love it, man. Like when the fucking world leaders do Skype calls. Fuck me.
Programme Director at Chatham House, as the international community urges
Trudeau
Israel
couldn't
to
work
not
his Skype.
escalate tensions in the region.
Happens. Aye, Japan. That's very independent. We'll rattle you with a couple of nuclear bombs and see if you might be a wee bit more obedient. Right, let's see. The BBC's is easy to do. Shit, there's the top of the hour. Eye for an eye. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Deadly Israeli airstrike on its consulate in Syria. A Jewish representative in Iran's parliament says that if Tehran failed to retaliate, that inaction would have only emboldened Israel's aggression.
In recent months, the Zionist regime directly attacked the interests of Iran, both inside Iran
let's
and
play a drinking
outside
game.
it.
Every time you hear
Assassinating
Zionist,
Iranian military
you take a
officials
drink.
or important people, it wanted to send a message to Iran that Iran does not have the power and capability of responding. But fortunately, the IRGC has shown that it has the ability to respond. Iran defended its national interests. An attack on the Iranian consulate on any soil is an attack on Iranian soil, and of course Iran was allowed to respond. In my opinion, if Iran did not respond, it would increase the possibility of war because it would make Israel more aggressive. Many Jews in the world are against Israeli crimes in occupied Palestine, not only in Iran but in European and American countries. Even in Asian countries, many Jews oppose the brutal aggression of the Zionist regime. We are Iranian and we live in the Islamic Republic of Iran and follow the laws of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Maybe some Jews in Iran have relatives in Israel, but this doesn't mean we should be against the Iranian government. Surely what the government of the Islamic Republic decides has the backing of the Jewish community in Iran.
RT's Middle East Bureau Chief Maria Fanoshna has provided the latest updates from Jerusalem. Let's take a listen.
The IDF presented updated numbers on the Iranian attack, claiming nearly 350 rockets and missiles of different types, including ballistic ones, were fired at Israel on Sunday. The army spokesperson last night said the attack carried 60 tons of explosives.
Every time they say
Israel
Zionist,
praised cooperation
or
with its allies,
Zionist
including the
regime
US,
around,
of course,
fucking
UK,
take a
Jordan,
drink. We
France,
smashed
in
them half
shooting
an hour,
down
man.
Iran's aerial
Good game.
barrages. For that purpose, Israel reportedly took upward of 1.3 billion worth of interceptor missiles and other materials. We hear that the US Central Command
people and
right.
on its local capabilities in order to empower itself and in order
Look
to
at this.
advance
You wanna
these
see Casper the
capabilities
fucking ghost?
for peaceful reason. And despite that, still the West and specifically the American administration
Literally,
trying to restrict these capabilities.
Sun's
But Iran,
trying.
day after
Sun's
day,
trying.
year after year, is proving that it's capable
Shit, what was I going to do there?
elaborating its capabilities and using them as I
Let's see if
mentioned,
they
for
sorted their
peaceful
audio. Right, I need
reasons.
to go back 5
One
minutes.
thing for Iran to show the different types of missiles or...
Oh, I've still got the same guy.
Persevere has learned that all the
Punishing
hypersonic missiles fired by
Israel.
Iran have hit their
Yeah,
targets
baby.
after evading Israel's air defense systems.
I think I've got it top of hour. That's not too shabby.
Iran warns that Tehran will give a harsh response to enemies who might try to cross the country's red lines and harm its
I've not
national
got any
interests.
tea, but let's kid on and playing the Zionism drinking game.
Also, in the headlines, another Palestinian youth has been killed as Israeli forces launch a fresh, deadly incursion into the city of Nablus in the occupied West Bank.
It's unfortunate, man. The Muslims can't play this drinking game. Roberto, see as the sun's trying to come out, mate, there's a big, massive
this is Press TV News. Thanks for joining us.
black cloud and the deck sweat.
Retaliated
so
against Israel over the
don't let this fool you that it's a nice day up here, mate.
Early this month.
God. That's the Zionist regime! Right. True promise. Man. Here, shout out Press TV. Get me as your PR guy, man. I'll make this shit a lot more sexy. It should have been Operation Zio Slap. That would have fucking... hashtag Zio Slap.
Iran says the attack
wow, man, that would have been immense.
Intelligence headquarters near Syria that were behind the deadly attack on the Iranian embassy. Hundreds of drones, ballistic and cruise missiles were used in the attack. It was conducted in several stages from multiple directions in order to suppress and overwhelm Israel's missile shields.
Iran
says the attack has achieved all of its objectives. This was the first time that Iran directly attacked the Israeli-occupied territories.
We've got a real bad background whine.
All hypersonic missiles fired by Iran's Islamic
that isn't me.
Corps
That's
have hit
their
their designated targets in Israel, marking the first time Iran employs such weapons against real targets.
It sounds like he's in a fucking missile, doesn't it?
Missiles fired by Iran. These missiles were fired alongside drones, other ballistic and during the retaliatory operation against Israel. Iran is one of the few countries that possesses the technology to produce hypersonic missiles. These missiles can travel at stunning speeds and hit their targets with great
if
precision.
their drones
Iran's
are as bad as their
missiles are
fucking
highly
audio,
enabling them to have an unpredictable flight path in order to confuse the...
Israel's alright, man.
The IRGC says tracking Iran's hypersonic missiles is impossible. Sundos Al-Assad is a journalist and commentator who joins us. Welcome. When you take a look at the capabilities...
Journalist and commentator. Fucking head.
Failed towards the end of last year, and it was used now in this retaliatory action
that
by Iran, which is
so
in a
bad.
combat mode. And it's just one of the many...
Nah, I take it back. That isn't a talking head, it's a talking face.
What does that say about Iran's military capabilities?
I'm a bad man, what can I say?
Yes, thank you for having me. The missiles that Iran has used, and this reflects capabilities and military capabilities.
They've got rid of the studio audio, and it's just her audio, and you get rid of that fucking... Oh no, it's back!
Since the establishment of the Islamic Revolution,
Press TV, you need to get your shit together.
On Iran, just because Iran has refused to accept the Western hegemony, and I've seen throughout the years that Iran hasn't used its weapons or its military capability, and on its of this as I have mentioned, because it's capable of attacking this regime, which Imam al-Khomeini has once said that if any
I can't play the Zio drinking game.
Regimes,
targets in the occupied territories. In an open
my
speech,
God!
the chief reiterated his condemnation of this.
I can't put up with that, man. Somebody get onto Press TV. Hold on, let me have a wee shifty. Nah, because it's coming through the studio because they went to different audio. Look, this will be fine.
Personnel must be respected in all cases, in accordance with international law.
It's the Russian man
condemning the 1 April attack on the Iranian consulate in Damascus. Madam President, it's time to step back from the brink. It's vital to avoid any action that could lead to major military confrontations on multiple fronts in the Middle East.
No, come on, I want to see the lasers.
Bearing the brunt and paying the highest price.
We've still not seen the lasers, man. No! Get rid of that audio! I'm no fucking listening to this pish. Press TV, your propaganda's pish.
Humanitarian ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
Right, somebody write an email to Press TV saying that I'll pimp out audio. I'll produce it. It'll be well better than fucking...
Landing success. Reportedly, the US has been using
proper audio.
Israel from
Russia know how to fucking at least do their propaganda. I only need one ear for the Russian stuff because it doesn't sound like they're in a washing machine.
It could be unfeasible to directly engage with Iran.
It would be very unwise for the United States.
You can't beat old Hitler haircut with a fucking big fucking Viking beard.
Negligible defense capabilities in this sphere, and being able to exert its power. I mean, it's a bit of a paper tiger, the United Kingdom, but the United States is a considerable power. However, it would be very... it would be a huge mistake for the United States to commit itself to aggression against Iran in the name of trying to defend the Israelis. We've heard now chatter about the United States, apparently Joe Biden's telling the Israelis not to respond and retaliate against Iranian soil directly. And we know that the United States doesn't want necessarily at least according to their rhetoric, there to be a regional war. And that's because the United States cannot fight Iran. It has no capability of defeating Iran. It doesn't have the ability to amass a military force capable of doing it, and they have no plan
God knows how
Iran.
he ended up on
What are they
Russia
going
today?
to do? Every single one of their bases and facilities and the
Russia
entire
today scare all them fucking bowels of the independent media and get the token Westerners who hate their governments, and they're like, no, because RT blows smoke up their arse and they feel important, and they're like, oh, I'll go on RT and talk about how the government, how the Federal Reserve isn't private.
Of the UN Security Council.
They've had every fruit fucking for the conspiracy world on. Ken O'Keefe, you remember that scam artist?
For their terror,
trigger the snapback mechanism and criminal fucking scam artist pal
designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terror organization. Action must be taken now, not for Israel's sake, not for the region's sake, but for the world's sake.
Regrettably, the Security Council has failed in its duty to maintain international peace and security. Faced with such circumstances, the Islamic Republic of Iran had no choice but to exercise its inherent right to self-defense under international law. Iran has no intention of engaging in conflict with the US in the region.
A parade of hypocrisy and double standards. That's how Russia's ambassador to the UN labelled the approach of Western members of the Security Council to the escalation between Israel and Iran, saying they condemn Tehran's actions but remain silent on the consulate strike.
You know very well that an attack on a diplomatic mission is a casus belli under international law, and if Western missions were under attack, you would not hesitate to retaliate and prove your case in this hall. Because for you, everything that concerns Western representatives and Western citizens is sacred and must be protected. But when it comes to other states, their rights, including the right to self-defense, is a different thing, as you like to say. Today in the Security Council, there is such a parade of hypocrisy and double standards, which is somehow even uncomfortable to watch. What happened on the night of April the 14th did not happen in a vacuum. Iran's steps were a response to the shameful inaction of the UN Security Council, a response to Israel's blatant attack on Damascus, which was far from the first one. Syria has been continually bombed by Israel. Many of you today have not had the courage to directly point out that the current escalation in the Middle East is unfolding against the backdrop of the Israeli operation in Gaza and the West Bank, which has been going on for more than 6 months, unprecedented in terms of casualties.
They slap everybody around.
The reaction of Western leaders was predictably similar to that of their delegates at the UN Security Council,
China
as they were quick
and
to
Russia's
support their
veto
ally
ability
Israel
is a
and
thorn
condemn Iran
in a lot of the Western element side because of the
veto.
veto.
A dangerous and unnecessary escalation, which I've condemned in the strongest terms.
Are you talking about hitting the consulate?
I condemn in the strongest terms the unprecedented attack launched by Iran against Israel, which threatens to destabilize the region.
I strongly condemn Iran's blatant and unjustifiable attack on Israel, and I call on Iran and its proxies to immediately cease these attacks.
The collective West right now sounds like parents with two kids fighting in their basement, Iran and Israel. And the Israel's just sitting there like a little angel minding his own business while Iran is going up and just punching him square in the face for absolutely no apparent reason. I'm surprised we haven't heard the unprovoked attack line again from Western leaders. Well, actually, we did. Queen Ursula von der Leyen, the unelected tone-deaf president of the European bureaucracy, called it a, quote, unjustifiable attack on Israel this time around. There's a small detail of Israel attacking Iranian soil by bombing its embassy in Damascus, Syria. But hey, minor detail when you have an agenda to tell, right? Remember, Queen Ursula was out of the gate at the very onset of this conflict last October with an unmitigated carte blanche for Israel to raise Gaza, basically, under the pretext of nailing a few Hamas members in the process. That was until a bunch of EU staffers revolted, or rather were revolted by the actions of this grande dame of humanitarian activism. Looks like Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, was also in on the group chat and got the message loud and clear.
Canada unequivocally condemns Iran's airborne attacks against Israel. The Iranian regime's latest actions will further destabilize the region and make lasting peace more difficult. These attacks demonstrate yet again the Iranian regime's disregard for peace and stability in the region.
Now, Trudeau and his Western leader pals blew past every opportunity to secure some kind of de-escalation ahead of all this by sitting back and offering just minor corrections and critiques of Israel as Netanyahu lobbed bombs with such outstanding precision in targeting Hamas that a bunch of Western aid workers feeding starving Palestinians were recently killed. Some countries, though, didn't find that balance too much of a trouble to achieve.
We are seriously concerned with the escalation of hostilities between Israel and Iran, which threatens the peace and security in the region. We call for immediate de-escalation, exercise of restraint, stepping back from violence, and return to the path of diplomacy.
We call on all the involved sides to restraint. We count on the countries of the region to resolve their problems by political and diplomatic means.
China expresses deep concern over the current escalation and calls on relevant parties to exercise calm and restraint to prevent further escalations.
China and Russia
China calls on the international community, especially countries with influence, to play a constructive role for the peace and stability of the region.
Western leaders seem to struggle in predicting risk of consequences or blowback. Instead, their intervention in the Middle East is all one-sided. Then when Israel does something nuts with that empowerment and impunity against Iran or against another neighbor like Syria or Lebanon, they just start lecturing the other country not to dare respond to it in defense of Israel.
What is your message to Iran? What is your message to Iran right now?
Don't.
Earlier, the Netherlands and other countries told Iran loud and clear to refrain from attacking Israel.
So basically, in parenting terms, one kid, Israel, could just wind up and punch the other, Iran in this case, who then has to just suck it up and take it on the chin. Oh, and while the West is engaged in this stellar parenting exercise, there's another kid pulling at its pant leg for attention. Guess who? The missiles were barely still in the air over the Middle East when one Ukrainian media account was spamming Twitter with a repeated message of "Remember Ukraine." There's a risk now, though, for Ukraine that the U.S. rejigs its congressional legislative schedule to prioritize Israel. That's according to House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, ostensibly over and above the Ukrainian aid debate or anything else, which suits the Republicans just fine, who have been trying to ditch the political hot potato of Ukraine spending right off the agenda ahead of November elections for a while now, as President Joe Biden has tried to link Ukrainian aid to Israeli aid. You'd think that the guy would have maybe read the room better when the response from Russia was radio silence, kind of like a guy who ghosts you in a relationship in tough times and then wonders where you went, why you just magically disappear the moment he wants some attention on command.
For all the latest world news, particularly the breaking stories right now in the Middle East, stay tuned to our forecast here on RT International, or check out our website, rt.com. It's been a decade since a US...
Oh, nice one, Roberto, mate. Hope you have a nice day, buddy. If you know what I mean. All the best, my man.
Our senior correspondent, Murad Gaziev, has the details.
The people of eastern Ukraine feared what Maidan, the young coup in Kiev, meant.
This guy's been partying with Sir Keir Starmer. Sir Keir's on the gear.
For their language, for their culture, had seized power. The people feared that they would be forced to speak Ukrainian, to think in Ukrainian, to pray in Ukrainian. And they were right.
That's right. That's
Eastern Ukraine looked upon this.
Slipped into that push. Right, is this even going to be worthwhile? No. Don't even know what that is, but just by... Oh, that's the football talk, I think. Is that the football guy? What's he talking about football?
Again, a levy on or a certain amount of money made available to some of the other clubs that can't afford all the time.
I listen to that enough anyway. There's David Cameron. Let's see what the BBCs were saying.
This is BBC News live from Jerusalem. I'm Lisa Doucette. As Israel weighs its options after Iran's unprecedented attack, the UN Secretary General calls for calm.
Right. Let me get this right. I was so the party line, which the BBC's doing, Sky News is doing. I didn't hear it on RT because they touched on the fucking attack on the consulate, but for obvious reasons, it's their job to poke the West with a big jobby stick. It's their job. Destabilise the West in any and all ways they can. Do you want to know why? Because they're at fucking war with the West. Just like the West is trying to destabilise the Russian Federation as much in any and all ways as it can, Ukraine being one of them. But Ukraine is because Russia invaded. Ooh, Hitler. Oh man, it's just so but it's so funny, the narrative that the sides out there still think they have the ability to spin. And then, even funnier, people falling for one side or the other, thus falling into the polarisation thing, not realising that both sides are doing the same to each. It's the shit that you may or may not have fell for in the past or still falling for, if you get me. You know, it's just war propaganda for all sides.
The Middle East is on the brink. The people of the region are confronting a real danger of a devastating full-scale conflict.
Mom!
Britain's Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron urges Israel not to retaliate, saying it should take the win that it repelled Iran's strikes.
Iran suffered this defeat because the attack was a failure. The world can see what a malign influence.
Right, so the party line is Iran's unprecedented attack. Look at the amount, the onslaught, the number. And then what was he talking about?
They are, and I think that the right thing to do is not to escalate.
Oh, and the attack was a complete failure. It was atrocious. Should be condemned. It's bad. It was fucking horrible. But we stopped it all. We got our night suit and our fucking superheroes, and we put out the bat signal, and all our superheroes, this fantastic fucking 5 or whatever it is, all bounced out the secret lair and used our lasers, shot down all the drones.
And live from London, I'm Lauren Taylor. Donald Trump will become the first US president to face a criminal trial on Monday, facing 34 charges of fraud. And we focus in on Sudan as the country marks 1 year of a bloody civil war.
Right. Call me skeptical, right? West General. Wesley Clark, I believe. Oh. Let's see if I can just get a quick. It's been giggle washed. Or is this it? We're going to take out a total of 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq, then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off with Iran. How's that plan going, boys? How's the plan going? The timetable's a wee bit off, but just like every government contract, right? I'll use the example of the fucking ferries. The big scam of the ferries, or the trams over in Edinburgh, the ferries over here in Glasgow and other areas as well, where they're building these big fucking money pits. We tram walks up in the know, gets a government contract, that's only going to be 10 quid. I'll deliver you the fucking world, $10. Right, okay. Okay, Tam, there's for £10. Where's the world? Well, you know, a few snags and shit, man. I'm going to need another tenner. Boom, right, alright, fuck it. We need the world, you know. You promised us the world. We promised the world to the people, man, so we need the fucking world. There's another 10 quid. Right, Tam, right, there's another 10 quid. Where's the world? Well, you see, you fuck around it and boom, shakalaka. Before you know it, you're paying like fucking 4 or 5 times more than the original contract. The contract was originally won because, oh, well, it's going to save people money. It's the cheapest contract around. Were they lying? Well, they deliberately deflate that fucking quote to get it through, and then once you get it through, you can't pull back. It's like the contraceptive of pulling out. You can't do it. It's like the government. That's like a government contract, right? Government contract is like the contraception are trying to pull out. It doesn't fucking happen, man. Wild horses can't get you fucking pull out when you're at the tickly, but so sorry, I was fucking I thought that was funny.
Welcome to Jerusalem. It is time to step back from.
It's time to step back. Nah, at least she's grew gracefully. Right, Iraq. That's an absolute fucking shithole, right? Tons and tons of oil, which could make them tons and tons of money, which could fund a really, really successful state. Boom shakalaka, shithole. Moving on. Lebanon! Well, I don't know if you do or do not know, because there's so many fucking wars going off in so many fucking areas, it's hard to keep track. I forget the area. The Golan Heights is the area, Syria, that Israel is illegally, by international law, occupying. There's territory in Lebanon that they're illegally occupying. I think that's now for over a decade. I might stand corrected. But there's still love bombs and bullets constantly getting exchanged on the northern border. I don't know what's happening in the Golan Heights, but with what's happening inside Syria and all the hits that Israel are doing inside Syria, and ISIS coming out of retirement inside Syria again, fuck knows what's going to be happening in the Golan Heights. Then we've got Iraq, Syria and Lebanon. Well, we've had the Syria war. Russia popped its head up, got its dog in the fight. ISIS, we hate ISIS too. We'll come in and help you. A brilliant bluff. Libya, well, Lord David Cameron, he sorted out Libya. He was part of the shit show of Libya to go and take out a Gaddafi. Do you know what? Very rich country, very good economy, could become a very wealthy and successful state. Boom shakalaka, it's a shithole. And now that's where a lot of the brown people in boats are coming from that are invading, if you want to call it that are coming to Europe and Britain. So that's working out fine. Somalia! We'll get the Somalian pirates that have been blown out the water, fucking just going, they're Somalian pirates. So Somalia has been turned into a war zone. And we're just talking about Sudan and the civil war that's happening in Sudan. I mean, like, it's there's a book out there which I've heard people speak about, but anyway, it's called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and it's how the West go in and fuck up these countries. So you bounce in as Mr. Banker, and you've got Abdul A and Abdul B, and you go, right, hey Abduls, right, okay, we'll both give you fucking loans, and plus not only will give you loans, we'll give you contact with the military-industrial complex, and with these loans you can buy lots of love bombs and bullets and jeeps and fucking all that sort of a shit, so you can both become little wee armies in this shithole of Africa. Right, boom shakalaka, then the corporations come in, promising to come and mine all the fucking minerals and all that shit, and Abdul A and Abdul B are getting both fucking teamed up and tanked up, and they go to war with each other, and you've got a civil war, while at the same time all the corporations who legally own all that shit now, just keep extracting all the minerals and stuff, while the money that Abdul A and Abdul B get, they use to kill each other, and the money goes to the military-industrial complex. Yet again, it's like a double-edged sword. It's a beautiful fucking scam. You know, you put these shitholes into perpetual warfare, so the people can't get anywhere near a fucking civilized society, because there's just Abdul A and Abdul B both getting fucking tons of guns, bombs, and bullets funneled to them. While your multinational corporations are in there getting protected by Abdul A and Abdul B, because it's all the minerals that are getting ripped out that Abdul A and Abdul B are using to fund their war against Abdul A and Abdul B. You get me? And all the loans are coming for the IMF, so so to keep this fucking gravy train going for Abdul A and Abdul B, they both need to keep borrowing money, extracting the minerals, using the multinational corporations who can do it very efficiently. Oh man, and it's not even any secret. It's not even any secret. It's just how it works. It's not any secret. I'll give you an example. See that film that everybody says was shite? The newish one. It was over 3 years long with DiCaprio and fuck. Oh, fuck. I want to say Da Vinci, but that's not it, man. Anyway, it had an amazing cast. I forget the name of it now. It was something like Moon Hill or something. Let's put Netflix and the crack cocaine of social media's down to you, man. No fucking, can't remember the name of any film, any actor. Aye. Let's get back to Bag Lady.
The brink. That was the warning sounded late last night by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres at a special session of the UN Security Council convened in the wake of Iran's unprecedented attack against Israel. The world's top political table is one of the few places where Iran and Israel's
Right, so unprecedented attack. The amount of drones was extraordinary. It was brutal. It shows you what the regime is made of. It shows you what the regime is made of. Hello, McFly. I mean, that's how easy it is just to like blow apart the narrative that they're trying to get into your subconscious. The vast majority of people out there will go, the vast majority of people out there will now go out and innocently repeat, because they'll hear these wee talking points getting repeated for everywhere. In the UK, we've got 3 news organisations, and they'll all be repeating this same meme. Unprecedented attack. Oh wow, did you hear what Iran done? Attack Israel, 300 fucking drones, 300 drones, 300 drones, 300 drones, 300 drones, 300 drones, and nobody will be talking about what happened to, what Israel done to its consulate. How many people did Iran kill the other night? 0, by all reports. How many did Israel kill with an attack on the first attack on Iranian soil? 7, or was it 14 or 7? It was either 7 generals and 14 in total or something along those lines. But so it depends what set of numbers you focus on. So let's see what set of numbers Bagley. Why did these people not able to open their eyes? I'm beginning to think they are lizards, and that's why they're scared to open their eyes, because now we've got 4K cameras and shit, and you can just see the lizard's eyes straight away.
Representatives sit in the same room. Israel's ambassador said Iran had crossed every red line with its...
What? Iran crossed every red line? What about attacking Iran's fucking embassy in the fucking first place? Unfucking believable. Like, God bless the BBC iPlayer and the ability to pause bag ladies and interject some sanity into this shit and not just the endless narrative. But again, the majority of people in the UK will be watching this on the TVs, the top of the hour BBC One News, the 6 o'clock news, and this is what they walk away and start repeating to wee Jean down the boozer. And then that's how this shit gets propagated. That's why it's important they all synchronise watches before the news cycle starts in the morning, so they get all the fucking their wee news, their memes basically out on the 3 news organisations here in the UK, which will get repeated endlessly, and then all the talking heads on the internet will watch the 3 news organisations in the UK if they're predominantly doing stuff for the United Kingdom angle. And then boom shakalaka, there you have your propaganda, because it's a message, a meme getting propagated with the power of TV and the interwebs. So, like, without thinking about it, think how many people innocently will now be out there talking about the 300 odd draws. The fucking 99%, like 99%, even I'm doing it. I'm doing it jokingly because I'm calling it Israel bang, one scushing and 99% of the drones are gone. Is that because you only get Sillet bang in the UK, didn't you? I think. So let's hear more about Bag Lady. But sorry, I do need to, you can't let this tripe go unchecked. And again, she's just doing her job. She's at the top of it. Earlier on at the start of her shift, she's been given the paper or the sign language or the secret handshake. This is what you need to say. Unprecedented attack on Israeli soil. There was 99%. Like, let's see the 99% coming.
Attack from Iranian soil on Israeli territory. Iran's top...
What about Israel's attack on Iranian territory?
Diplomat said that Iran had a legitimate right to self-defense after the attack on its diplomatic property in the Syrian capital Damascus on April the 1st, which killed some of its top revolutionary guards working in this region.
So they just talk about that as an attack and not an unprecedented attack.
Members of the Security Council, including the US and the UK, condemned Iran's attack. But there was a call for restraint and urging of Israel not to retaliate. Here in Israel this morning, life is returning to its usual rhythms. The emergency measures put in place on Saturday, hours before Iran's strike happened, have now been removed. Schools are closed because the Passover holiday is approaching, but Israelis are now allowed to engage in any of the educational activities connected to the school year, and gatherings of more than 1,000 people are now allowed. But of course, the restrictions in place in the north and the south because of the Gaza war have not.
They hate us for our freedom.
And in Israel, the Security Cabinet has been looking at...
That's a brilliant one, DJ. I got 99 problems, but a drone ain't one.
Who say, in their words, Israel should go crazy in its response to Iran's attack. Others, including Benny Gantz, who's a member of the War Cabinet, are saying that Israel will respond, but at a time and in a manner of its own choosing. Let's look at all the latest developments of the past 12 hours with this report from our Middle East correspondent, Elon Nell.
Right.
Israel's
Let's be honest. Why the fuck have you got grainy, black and white CCTV camera footage for 1989, right? And the footage you got from the Iraq war was better than this shit. What is that? Like fucking somebody firing off some flares? In fact, I'll be honest, you get more pyrotechnics at an old film game. I'm not even joking. Old film game has more pyrotechnics in and outside the fucking stadium than this, man. Alright, let's see, is this the damage?
The children were frightened and wanted to...
Oh my god! Look at that! That is fucking atrocious! I think we need to... That's it. Nuke Iran. Nuke Iran. Oh, wait there. I need to find a house to compare it to. Oh, there's the house! Kinda. See, I don't know if you can see it, but see amongst all that fucking blown up fucking rubble, there's still something standing. Oh no, wait, if you look up the top right hand window, it's been blown out. You can see the sky through it. I thought I found a house there in Gaza. It's still standing. Maybe it's a new form of Where's Wally. You can like you can just get a picture of Gaza and where's a house. But hold on, let's get back to this pure destruction for Iran and why fucking Israel need to retaliate. You sure that wasn't somebody throwing a stone through your fucking window?
Yesterday to plan its next move. One of its members, Benny Gantz, said Israel would exact a price from Iran.
Why have they not get cooler uniforms? Why do the uniforms still look like they're fucking straight out of World War II?
When the time is right. And last
you
night,
get
the UN Security Council met in an emergency meeting following the attacks. Israel called for sanctions on Iran.
After breakfast or lunch, of course, you know, an emergency fucking meeting, but we need to fucking make sure we go to the 5-star restaurant that no doubt exists in the United Nations building, which, by the way, was on the Donald Duck and Mathematical Land thing the other day, showing you the golden ratio in the building, but I digress. So, like, we need to play this game of cricket, but fucking 11sies or whatever they call it.
And reiterated its right to a response.
This attack crossed every red line, and Israel reserves the legal right to retaliate. We are not a frog in boiling water. We
are lizards. We are David Icke was right. We are all shape-shifting lizards.
We are a nation of lions.
Lions? Hold on! Did he just say the truth?
Following the attacks, Israel called for sanctions on Iran and reiterated its right to a response.
Iran should have no toilet paper.
Every red line, and Israel reserves the legal right to retaliate. We are not a frog in boiling water. We are a nation of lions.
Liars. That's what you just admitted. He's a nation of liars. But what a catch. Only here on Kip's Clips.
Following such a massive and direct attack on Israel, the entire world, let alone Israel, cannot settle for inaction. We will defend our future.
Iran's ambassador to the UN told the meeting that its actions, which were in retaliation for a deadly airstrike on its consulate in Syria, were justified.
These countries, especially the United States, have shielded Israel from any responsibility for the Gaza massacre, while they have denied Iran inherent right to self-defense against the Israeli armed attack on our diplomatic premises.
Amid rising tensions, the attacks have received widespread international condemnation.
The scale and nature of Iran's heinous assault, the first direct attack from Iran on Israeli soil, poses grave...
After a direct attack from Israel on Iranian soil? You fucking... What the fuck is that? Is that fucking wee... Is that wee genius doctor guy? We putting on a British accent? What? Hey, Lady Muck, I think your mum fucked her cousin. Ugh. You look more like a giraffe than a human being. What the fuck are you... Did you go back to the manor in Africa and put rings round your neck to make your fucking go gadget neck work?
Risks to the security and stability of citizens across the Middle East.
Now.
What, like blowing up their fucking embassy? Again, it's just a giraffe. Understand what it is.
World leaders are pressing for de-escalation in a bid for calm in the region.
Yep, but they're not calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. They're not stopping shipping arms to them or suspending it at the very least. They're sitting up there bumping their gums saying shit that doesn't make sense. Being hypocrites openly in the United Nations amongst meant to be the best among us. The most educated motherfuckers in the world are meant to be sitting around there. So I don't... Why they're not fucking... like having fits and pissing themselves laughing at these ridiculous statements, or the hypocrisies, I do not know. Is it because they're all afterwards they're going to the same fucking bar and all shagging each other? Hey, I fancy a wee bit of a Canadian... What do you call somebody for Ghana? Anyway, I fancy somebody for Africa tonight. Let's go to the bar. Hey, all the diplomats just fucking put their keys in a bowl. And let the party begin, man. And they all stick masks on, put on creepy music. And then all you've got to go by then is either they've got a foreskin or not. And even then, take a pick.
We have a shared responsibility to work for peace. Regional and indeed global peace and security are being undermined.
All eyes are on Israel and how it responds. Yolande Nell, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Woohoo!
So Israel and its staunchest allies say Iran's attack failed, but in Tehran, Iran said it was a success and that it achieved all its objectives.
I'm shocked! Oh, right.
It said the matter was now closed, but that if Israel did retaliate, it would respond with even greater force. So what was it trying to achieve? We're joined now by Esfandiar Batmanghelidj, who is the founder of the Bourse and Bazaar Foundation, which looks at economic issues across the Middle East. Esfandiar, welcome to...
Fuck's sake, man, did somebody let him loose with his Moz mascara?
BBC News. What was Iran trying to achieve and did it do it?
Hi, Lise. It's good to be with you. I think Iran was going for a calibrated retaliation.
Look at that for a fucking bat. Man, what the
and
fuck?
That meant that its response
I'd
was
need to call him
telegraphed over
mate.
a period of about 2 weeks, giving time for Israel and its partners to prepare. It also meant engaging in back-channel negotiations in the lead-up to the attack to make clear that although Iran was intending to show force in response to Israel, it was not intending to trigger a wider regional war. From the Iranian perspective, they think they've succeeded. The commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Hossein Salami, has declared that the attack has led to a new equation, demonstrating to Israel that if Iranian personnel or facilities are attacked, they can now expect a direct response from Iranian territory.
Mate, I did get up to it. I didn't go to my bed early enough last night.
Does that new equation mean that deterrence has been reestablished? I think it's unlikely, given that
Stop
Israel
endlessly
has,
showing the
thwarted
war
the Iranian
porn.
attack quite
Just
successfully.
put me
Also,
lights in the sky.
is
Hold on, I'm going to
apparently
recreate
keen
it.
continue its campaign against Iranian aggression, but we're still waiting to see exactly how the chips will fall.
But there is danger in these differing perceptions, isn't it? What Iran sees as a carefully telegraphed and calibrated strike. Here in Israel, they are saying there was more than 100 ballistic missiles fired at Israel, that they were just lucky that none of the missiles got through. So they see it
did you
in
catch
a
that?
completely different way, and hence their
Did you catch that? Let's see if I can show you.
reaction. Iran sees as a carefully telegraphed and calibrated
She's about to say, Iran sees it as a carefully telegrammed and calibrated response. Either some cunt in her ear or the fucking the programming and her fucking the briefing she got before she went on air this morning kicked in, and she went attack. Right, I know it's a very small minutia, but it's how you constantly frame it. You can't frame what Iran done as a response. It's an attack, an attack, an attack, an attack, an attack, an attack. And an attack equals aggressor and not defensive. And that's how it's having to get planned, played out. So the BBC trying to frame themselves as being independently reporting the news of this war, it's laughable, right? Not only is it laughable, you can hear it, but it's not surprising because they're part of the British war machine. That's why the Sky News will be on board. That's why ITN will be on board, and that's the main sources of everything that comes out of the UK news-wise. And you best believe those institutions have MI6 right up its fucking jacksy. And it's not even like a conspiracy, it's just the way the world, the same way that RT have fucking Russian secret services or whatever rammed up their jacksy. It's the way it goes, same way the fucking American outlets. To suggest anything other is naivety, I believe. Anyway, right, so let's see if we can let's see if we can hear that again, man.
Against Iranian aggression, but we're
Iranian aggression, Iranian aggression.
Chips will fall.
But there is danger in these differing perceptions, isn't it? What Iran sees as a carefully telegraphed and calibrated strike.
Response?
Here in Israel, they are saying there was more than 100 ballistic missiles fired at Israel, that they were just lucky that none of the missiles got through. So they see it in a completely different way, and hence their reaction to Iran's attack.
And understandably so. I mean, the spectacular nature of Iran's attack, the idea that the Iranians did decide, despite the expectation that they would go for a measured response to hit Iran directly from Iranian territory,
one of the talking points. Iran's attack,
creating really frightening images. I mean, the image of Iranian ballistic missiles streaming across the sky above the Dome of the Rock is the kind of thing that was once, reserved for propaganda posters, and now it's become something that's
look at the horrific images.
The civilians in Israel, have every right to be concerned about their security.
How do I know that? How do I know that's not somebody in a dark room with a lighter?
Performed well, and it does seem that Iran had taken certain steps to almost allow the interception of a lot of those drones and missiles, given how they were targeted and the time provided before the attack. That being said, the political pressure
I've got a couple that I can get dark, and I'm gonna go in there and film.
It will be
looking that in the dark and put it up on the shitty talks. It's new and improved footage of Iran's attack on Israel.
President Biden have suggested that
see if it goes down as well as my footage of the eclipse from Glasgow.
The question I have really moving forward is, what is the role of the international community in whether or not they will allow Israel or give...
Right, I'm pretty sure I know where this, what side of the, what dog in the fight this guy's backing. Not to mention just the fact that he's been let loose in his Mo's mascara.
Assessment of this moment. Well, this is
my moment.
Success not just in the fact that the 99% of the
99%. Right, so what have we got? President, this unbelievable president. 99%. Remember, Israel, what is it? Israel bang kills 99% of drones. Fact. It's on the BBC's. Not only is it on the BBC's, it's on Sky Newsies. And then it's on ITV as well, so they're all different. And then you got it on Channel 5. And then, oh no, the other channels, they have their wee news things. Look at it till the end and see who produces it. It's like Channel 4 News, ITN. Channel 5 News, Sky News. Channel 3 News, ITN, STV. BBC. You see, and that's all we've got over here. And then you get people who say they don't watch the news, don't watch TV. They'll go on and get all their news from these sources and rhyme and repeat all these 3 sources that we've got in the UK's talking points. Independently, of course. Independently. You know, that's why they all end up talking about bringing people in boats and the same old fucking shite. Anyway, sorry, let's get back to this. This is great stuff.
Missiles and drones were brought down, but that there was a coalition of allies which helped Israel in this effort, showing that Israel did have support. They included yesterday
get some sunglasses or something. Get your wrinkles if you keep doing
Iran's attack as reckless, and pointed out that that
definitely
British
lizards.
fighter jets were also involved in bringing down some of the missiles. This morning, the Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron was speaking about now the urgent need to avoid another escalation.
I think it's important to be respectful on
still
these
got
occasions. A country has had a massive attack from a dangerous and malign actor in the region. They will be considering, they are considering, the Israeli cabinet has been meeting already to consider that. Our advice is don't retaliate. You know, take the win. Recognize Iran has suffered a double defeat. Defeat as almost all their weapons were shot down, and defeat because the world can now see their true nature. That the right thing to do is to pivot now and look at Hamas and say they must release the hostages. So we wouldn't be supporting retaliatory action, but we're respectful of other countries.
Lord Cameron, and you mentioned there the war.
Lord, I'm a fucking lord.
Last night, looking at the range of options in an Israeli response. They didn't take any decision. We've just had breaking news that they are going to meet again at 11 hours GMT. That's a few hours away here in Israel, and we'll certainly keep an eye on that. It is interesting that they met. It underlines that there's still discussions. And of course, as we've been underlining, they're meeting at a time when all of their key allies, the allies they would look to for support if they did carry out a retaliatory strike, really don't want to be involved in it.
11 a.m. right? Now, because
very interesting how would Lord Cameron
this is Spaceballs.
Americans asked for support.
If you haven't seen Spaceballs back in the day, you must be younger than me.
Like this,
because we're in Spaceballs, we can fast forward and time travel and shit. So let's go and see what the Israeli cabinet see. Just time travel to the top of our news.
Download the app.
Press TV's crapped out. No surprise there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the Odyssey player's down. We've took it down, Captain. Does this bad boy work?
Live from London, this is BBC News. As Israel weighs its response to Iran's unprecedented attack, a warning from the UN Secretary General to step back from the brink.
The brink! And then some shitty fucking grainy footage of
repelling Iran.
This is different. They've no upgraded shit since the Iraq War.
The attack was a failure. The world can see what a malign influence
the attack was
and
a
I
failure.
think that
99%.
the right thing to do is not to escalate.
Donald Trump will become the first US president to face a criminal trial on Monday when jurors are selected in his Stormy Daniels hush money case. And we focus on Sudan as the country marks 1 year of a civil war which has brought it to the brink of famine.
Yay, man, it's just an accident. Oops. Oops. Let's have a wee look. Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan and Iran.
That's the warning from the UN Secretary General Antonio
Looking
Guterres
good.
after Iran's attack on Israel late on Saturday. He was speaking at an emergency meeting of the UN, where representatives from the UK and US condemned the attacks by Iran.
Israel
made it clear they don't want to
contemplates
see
retaliation for Iran's first ever direct attack on the country. Israel's president said it is
took down
considering
STV.
all options.
We were attacked last night from four corners of the Middle East with proxies shooting at us, firing missiles and ballistic missiles, drones, and cruise missiles. This is like a real war. I mean, this is a declaration of war, not because we are restrained and because we know the repercussions. And
it's a declaration of war, everybody. It's there. Back it in here. Hole in one, because the masters
we will take the necessary steps that are necessary to protect and defend our people. So I would say, of course, that the last thing that Israel is seeking in this region since its creation is to go to war. We are seeking peace. We are peace seekers.
As Israel suggests, it could seek peace through violence. Iran maintains its attack was a justifiable response to a deadly Israeli airstrike on its consulate in Syria. A Jewish representative in Iran's parliament says that if Tehran failed to retaliate,
a Jew in the Iranian parliament
emboldened Israel's aggression.
In recent months, the Zionist regime directly attacked the interests of Iran,
we need to
both
play the
inside
Zionist
Iran
game.
and outside it. By assassinating Iranian military officials or important people, it wanted to send a message to Iran that Iran does not have the power and capability of responding. But fortunately, the IRGC has shown that it has the ability to respond. Iran defended its national interests. An attack on the Iranian consulate on any soil is an attack on Iranian soil, and of course Iran was allowed to respond. In my opinion, if Iran did not respond, it would increase the possibility of war because it would make Israel more aggressive. Many Jews in the world are against Israeli crimes in occupied Palestine, not only in Iran but in European and American countries.
Is Tommy Robinson saying anything about the jihad that happened in Australia? What a dumb fuck, man. Guy should keep Hoddy's wished till he knows better, but people can't because they're OCD windy lickers and the social medias they'll get their news from Twitter. Everybody's like saying it's this guy, that guy. There's even somebody in the chat the other day using the wrong name. But of course, the name the cops come out with is obviously a conspiracy. It's going to turn into some sort of Sandy Hook bullcrap in people's minds so they can fit everything in as they see it or want it to be.
The Army spokesperson last night said the attack carried 60 tons of explosives. Israel praised cooperation with its allies, including the US, of course, UK, Jordan, France, in shooting down Iran's aerial barrages. For that purpose, Israel reportedly took upward of $1.3 billion worth of interceptor missiles and other materials. We hear that the U.S. Central Command Forces, supported by U.S. European Command destroyers, successfully engaged and destroyed more than 80 drones and at least 6 ballistic missiles intended to strike Israel from Iran.
Aye, it definitely, like, there's like, see with regards to the way Iran, what we know about how Iran has or hasn't retaliated or what they've done. You could look at it 100 different ways. One option, I suppose, is they deliberately put their kids' gloves on and done something that they can say to their people look, we fucking hurt them back, but fuck all really happened, if you get me. So they done the bare minimum, hoping that Israel won't retaliate. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is they threw all the shittest of their shite arsenal to get the data back about what would happen if they did fly a barrage of missiles and drones towards Israel. Because they'll have some artificial intelligence. I fucking hate that getting used. There is no artificial intelligence right now, just very clever algorithms. That's why everybody's going, well, we used artificial intelligence and it fucked up. Well, it wasn't really that intelligent then, was it? That algorithm had faults in it, because it ain't intelligent, it's organic, and it's flawed. Like every cunt, it's organic. Anyway, I digress. Let's hear what they're saying.
Occupation regime by attacking the regime's air, intelligence and military bases and avoiding attacks on critical infrastructure facilities, and currently has no plans to carry out new military actions. If the Zionist regime wants to continue its evil actions against Iran by any means and at any level, it will receive a response that is at least 10 times greater.
Reports suggest
definitely
that
one day when
focus
I'm
has
going to have a
shifted
drink,
from the
play the
Lewin
Zionist
Rafah
drinking
operation
game, but
to
use
Iran,
Press
and the
TV.
date of the offensive
Definitely
in
within
densely
an hour.
populated Gaza's south
Out
has
your
been
tits.
moved. But these reports were denied by Prime Minister's office. But certainly the last couple of days and nights were the quietest for Gazans living under Israeli bombardment for
Yeah,
more
it
than
only
6
cost $1
months
billion
now.
to have
This
a
is
wee
what they have to
fireworks
say.
show.
This is the first and only calm night in Gaza in the past 7 months. There were no aircraft or drones. We slept well, but we wanted the attack on Israel to be even harsher.
The Iranian response should have happened a long time ago. It was good for them to retaliate. They must keep on attacking Israel to mitigate the pressure Israel is putting on us. Israel has violated all international norms.
Interesting that the IDF released a statement saying that 2 reservist brigades will be drafted in the coming days. Not clear for which purpose or where, but analysts say it might be in preparations for Rafah offensive. Prime Minister Netanyahu repeatedly vowed to invade Rafah, where up to 1.5 million Gazans are sheltering now in dire conditions, including those internally displaced from the north of the enclave. Despite global disapproval and concerns, and unclear how Iran can change these plans or if.
Washington says Israel's interception of the drones
The
and
positive
missiles was a
thing, right,
great
is
success.
Nutjob
However,
doesn't have
not
much
everyone
support
shares
in
that
his
opinion.
country right now.
Well, where things
So
stand this morning is just an
hopefully-
incredible military achievement by Israel and, quite frankly, the United States and other partners that helped Israel defend itself against more than 300 drones and missiles. I mean, it's just an extraordinary example of military superiority that Israel demonstrated to the whole world last night. And I think Israel also demonstrated that it has friends.
You
that
see
it's
how
not
big
standing
Israel's
alone,
dick is?
that it's not isolated on the world stage.
The first thing that was very interesting is that Iran disclosed the fact that the drones were being fired long before they ever hit Israel. This immediately showed that their intention was to make a show of force, but to do as little damage as possible. So you have these slow-moving drones, and they're going for hours across the ground. It was a turkey shoot. I mean, I'd have loved to have been one of the pilots up there. It was like a big video game. You just bip, 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 you're knocking them out of the sky. It was a game, and the Iranians knew they'd all be shot down. They had anticipated that, and that is what they wanted to have happen. They wanted the drones and the missiles to be knocked out before they could do any damage. If you go back a little bit, you realize that when Bibi Netanyahu ordered the attack on the Iranian embassy in Damascus, he was trying to do the most outrageous thing that he could think of in order to provoke an emotional response from the Iranian leadership, and that in turn would cause them to do something and then somehow get the United States drawn into the war. The drone retaliation by Iran was designed to satisfy some of the hardliners in Iran. But at the same time, they didn't want to antagonize anyone else. They didn't want the United States to be antagonized. So they sent clear signals diplomatically that this was simply being done for domestic consumption within Iran.
Step back from the brink. That's the message from the UN Secretary General as he called on countries in the Middle East to avoid starting an even bigger war. Speaking at the UN Security Council, Israel's envoy compared Iran to the Nazi Third Reich. And that's not the first time he has used this kind of analogy.
The Islamic regime of today is no different than the Third Reich, and Ayatollah Khamenei is no different than Adolf Hitler.
Hold on a minute, I've got some fucking tunes, some lockets in my cupboard, bud. You seem to be having a wee bit of fucking problem with your phlegm there. Oh, you gotta love, man, the way fucking Nazis are just like a big meme nowadays. You're a Nazi, no, you're a Nazi, no, you're a Nazi. You kill more people than me, no, but you kill more people than me back then, and fuck, they're fucking retards arguing with each other. It's not even a real argument.
The UN
it's a debate.
is considering to force the establishment of a Palestinian terror state. This won't be a regular state. It will be a Palestinazi state. It is the law.
Oh my lord! They've just realised how powerful, like pointing out like what Israel's doing is very akin to what the Nazi state done. How powerful a meme that is. I mean, we'll be having that. Just like where the Trooper Industrial Complex used to use the meme, "Are you awake?" He's awake. He knows the private reserve is private. He knows the Federal Reserve is private. He watches Alex Jones too. He's awake. He's scared of fluoride too. And then the other side was like, we'll be having some of that, but we can't have awake. We'll use woke. It's just one big meme war to keep people idiots arguing each other.
Fighting democracy of Israel against modern day Nazis.
Yes, I kill enough people in the room, ask them to vote, and then surprisingly the people left in the room voted for me. It's a democracy!
Let's go live now to veteran
what the fuck, mate? You've got a fucking slug in your fucking lip.
Elijah, good to see you.
That looks like a fucking hipster Fraser Crane, doesn't it? Looks like Fraser Crane if he was alive. I think he's alive nowadays. Looks like Fraser Crane if he was a fucking hipster.
Thanks for joining us here today on RT. Now, we've just heard there the Israel's envoy to the UN throwing around, the word Nazi to describe his country's adversaries. I mean, to what extent can Israel use rhetoric about the Holocaust to justify its own attacks on its enemies today?
Thank you for having me. Israel has been used the Holocaust to justify all its atrocity against the Palestinian population in the West.
Right. There's a reason, there's some subliminal messaging I'm getting here, right? And it's making me want a pint of cider for some reason. And I can't quite. Oh, Magnus. That's it.
West Bank and in Gaza. Israel.
War correspondent and political analyst reporting live from his bedroom in front of his virtue signaling book fucking closet. Bookshelf, that's the word I'm forgetting about.
They claim to be a democratic nation, and a democratic nation indiscriminately.
Right. Brussels, Belgium. I was going to say French accent, but it isn't too far off. He's only missing a red and black fucking jumper a string of onions and a fucking black beret, man, and he's in a fucking book, a comic book called The Fucking Frenchman.
Killing Palestinian civilians and non-civilians without distinguishing between the institution that belong to the United Nations, to the EU, the civilian institution, the infrastructure, demonizing the Palestinian exactly the same as Hitler used during the Nazi against the Jew and the Holocaust. It is even worse because the Israelis today said overtly that they're cutting water, electricity, fuel, everything on the Palestinians, describing them as animals. Again, it is a copy-paste of what Hitler and his system used against the Jew during the Second World War.
Elijah, forgive me for interrupting you. My question, though, sir, is that every time somebody says something against Israel or against the Israeli government, the word Nazi is thrown out. I mean, it's like, are they trying to dilute this word? I mean, why do they use this word? I mean, Iran attacks Israel. We'll get to that in a second, but
are they trying to dilute this word as we talk about it and call every cunt a fucking Nazi? It's like, pedo.
Tell the world that we are again.
I'm gonna up my game and start calling people pedo Nazis.
Exactly like the Nazi persecuted the Jew.
Maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll
bring the
work.
Image in the head of the people. Look, we are persecuted again after more than 75 years, and then we are subject to a Nazi-like regime and behavior and ideology that want to eliminate us when they are the one.
Don't know if he can make it out, but it isn't far off, man.
It's a way to bully countries and people, and they even call the United Nations as anti-Semitic, and they still at the United Nations and they don't want to leave. So all this rhetoric is becoming a démodé.
No far fucking off, my man.
There is enough awareness around the world to understand the narrative of
this guy's in his cider. He's Magnus mad.
People have increased their understanding of
your cider, mate.
The behavior of the Israelis, what words they use to intimidate others, and it's not working anymore because of the fact of the Israeli that are even worse than the Nazi against the Palestinians.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting how they use the words. Elijah, I'd like you to listen to France's President Macron reacting to the attack. Let's just take a look at this together.
We should not respond by escalating, but rather isolate Iran, succeed in convincing the countries of the region that Iran is a danger, increase sanctions, increase pressure on nuclear activities, and then find a path of peace in the region.
No, it's interesting about his proposal. Why don't Western powers suggest a similar response to Israel's deadly attack on the Iranian consulate in Syria? Why is it always sort of like focusing on whatever Israel does, we have to back them, but if they do acts of terrorism, we turn a blind eye? What's this hypocrisy, Elijah?
It's hypocrisy, you knew that.
Hypocrisy is widely used by the West. I would not look at what President Macron is saying because he's no longer having a place in the international community. It doesn't represent any weight, really. Now, when the American President Joe Biden spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and asked him to stop behaving like Rambo, all the other announcements coming from the British or the French or the Germans have no weight. They just sing in the same way as the Americans because they consider Israel as part of the Western club. Well, I really don't disagree with that. Israel is indeed part of the Western club with their double standard, with their hypocrisy, with everything that is allowed to the Israelis and the West, but is not allowed to others, even if others are not behaving. I've heard today even the UK Foreign Minister David Cameron saying that Iran needs to be punished. And the presenter said, well, what about if our embassy, the UK embassy, is bombed? What would you do? So he didn't know what to answer. So again, we go back to the memo that Rex Tillerson received as a foreign secretary in 2018, telling him that everything the Americans and their allies do, it is allowed, but we use humanitarian accusation and violation of human rights only against our enemies like Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. This is a clear double standard that the West has been using, but again, is no longer secret because the world population today have increased their understanding comparing the position of the West in the war in Ukraine and the position of the West in the war in Israel. Nobody among the Western countries, at the exception of Norway, have condemned the Israeli violation of Article 51 of the UN Charter when it has bombed and destroyed the Iranian consulate, breaking the immunity of the diplomatic position, diplomatic building of Iran. But when Iran retaliates and has the right to defend itself, then the whole Western countries are gathering to think how they can punish the Iranian. Well, I tell you what, the South is reorganizing itself without the West.
Yeah, it's very interesting indeed. Sadly, Elijah, very good talking to you, by the way. Very interesting indeed. We've run out of time. Pleasure to have you on the show. Elijah Magnier, veteran war journalist and political analyst. Thanks again for your time.
My pleasure.
A parade of hypocrisy and double standards. That's how Russia's ambassador to the UN labeled the approach of Western members of the Security Council to the escalation between Israel and Iran, saying they condemn Tehran's actions but remain silent on the consulate strike.
Oh, this is interesting.
You know very well that an attack on a...
Ministers hope the first asylum seekers can be sent to the African country.
They're talking about new destinations for the brown people on boats as well.
Australia say it's obvious that a man who fatally stabbed 6 people at a shopping centre in Sydney was targeting women. 5 of the 6 victims were female.
Oh.
Another 12 people, including a baby, were injured.
Going after the
Our Sydney
vaginas.
correspondent Katie Watson reports.
Across Australia, flags are flying at half-mast, honouring the victims of Saturday's attack. The names of all of those who died have now been released. This was Pikria Dar.
Now, this just shows you how horrible the internet and windy liquors on the internet are. The amount of people that were using their Sherlock Holmes abilities and fucking the power of the internet, which we all know doesn't lie to us. You know, there isn't any bullshit out there on the internet. And, like, we're parroting, regurgitating, propagating, left, right and centre. Fucking, it was Tommy Robinson was, that's a fucking jihad, it's a fucking jihad, right next to his video to donate to his legal fund because he's deliberately provoking the Met Police and breaking bail conditions.
Originally from Georgia, she spoke several languages. Dawn Singleton was a 25-year-old planning her imminent wedding. Jade Young was a 47-year-old architect, mother and member of the Surf Lifesaving Club.
It doesn't matter the names of these people, who they were.
That seems to be an area of interest that the offender had focused on women and avoided the men. As you know, and has been reported, 5 of the deceased are women, and the majority of victims in hospital are also women.
Stories behind the bravery of the shoppers during the attack are also emerging.
Did you get shot with a
Iranian
woman in
giggle
it?
from France confronted the killer with a bollard.
I saw the guy didn't get stamped, but on the floor with a lot of blood, and I saw.
They're only doing it for the woman.
And then he's like,
I've seen him stab a quarton. I had enough.
I saw him running, so I have to follow him, of course.
He fucking stood in a
Their
croissant.
immediate investigations here at the Westfield shopping centre. but it remains closed today. Amid the stories of bravery and
Sherlock.
developments in the investigation,
I think at least one day break for commerce is allowed, innit?
Of an
They're
attack
fucking what
that's
happened.
shaken the country.
Now on to some happier news, especially for bird lovers. Loch Arkaig in the Highlands has welcomed its first osprey egg of the season. The Woodland Trust in Scotland says one of its visiting ospreys.
So, I think we regurgitated all that shit, got her back on. Let's see if this is working. Let's see if we'll get decent audio. Maybe they blocked me because they heard me criticising their audio. It seems to be trying. Oh, there we go.
In force, there have only been 10 convictions. In the case of Palestine, although they filed the complaint in 2015, it was only realized in 2018 and an investigation began on the issue. As of 2023, having passed more than 8 years, today there are still no charges against Israel. Nothing exists. They say Israel's measures are going to be investigated.
Right,
the
so that's what they're
admissibility
claiming
has
down the
passed
bottom.
in
Did
that
you see
there
that?
is evidence that a genocide
Claiming they
may
used
be being
hypersonic
committed,
missiles
that crimes against
strike the
humanity
airbase.
may be being committed.
And I heard
because
that as
if
well,
we
that
are
they were going to use the before the attack or during the attack, if you know what I mean. They'd launched it, but it was still coming. That they were going to use all the cheap ass drones as a way of making sure their missiles get through. I can't remember what neck of the wood I got
and
that
children
from.
who are clearly not part of the war. They are not militiamen ever. And today they're attacking only the civilian population.
Right, that's
So they're
like
attacking
fucking the Iranian question time, innit? So, let's get political. It's GB News. These are Nigel Farage's dangleberries. I mean, if she get any more skin pulled back, her chin would be on her forehead, man. Fuck sake. Slams, wokery. Fucking hell, he's got anything else to talk about? Independent, that's full of politicians. Some of them still active. GB News get fined because of fucking Rees-Mogg. Been on GB News doing party political broadcasts. Iranian strikes. Right, let's hear about. I know we'll be wanting them to
for reach in attacking Israel from Iranian soil. That offers an opportunity to be used cleverly, strategically, under U.S. leadership, but with Israel in a dominant role. And I think that there's an opportunity here for Sunni states that are fearful of Iran and deterred by Iran to join in. And as your
Did he just say deterred by Iran?
Tom said, Iran and deterred by Iran to join in.
What is he talking
And
about,
as
third?
you're fearful of Iran and deterred by Iran to join in. And as your
Right,
said
sorry, that's
correctly,
too
was
funny.
that
There's
deterred by Iran. Sunni
scared of
states that
Iran's
are
turds.
fearful of Iran and deterred by Iran. Sunni states that are fearful of Iran and deterred by Iran to join in.
That's
and
for reals.
as Yotam said correctly, when push came to shove, Jordan stood up and made a very smart and correct decision. And I hope that the Saudis will do the same. And I think that there are good opportunities down the road for regional stability and prosperity if we take this opportunity to really bring it back to Iran and to curtail
That's a
regional
spokesman for the
aggression.
IDF.
So perhaps there is some hope in this. Gentlemen, thank you both very much indeed. Jonathan Conricius there, who's a senior fellow at the FTD and former spokesman for the IDF. Also Yotam Confino, who is our regular Middle East correspondent. Penny and
Shocked
Essex
that our IDF former spokesman turns up on Talk TV.
Penny says, I can't
Absolutely,
see any of this ending anytime soon. Israel
sure.
has to defend itself at all costs. I can't stand this constant persecution of Jewish people. I don't think it will ever end, though. Amanda says, it is the enemy.
Israel is not the Jewish people. And this guy, maybe that guy's squeezing out the turd that guy was talking about. Yeah, look how uncomfortable he looks.
Within that worries me most. We have no idea who's arriving by boat. No need for a Trojan horse these days.
Yeah, I know. All young men are fucking army age. It's a Trojan horse.
And Marty in Belfast says, I think Iran had to respond to the bombing of their embassy, as Jonathan was pointing out, there was a building adjacent to it. But anyway, Martin says, the fact they announced the attack knowing Israel's capabilities, it amounts to a warning shot. Israel should not respond and call it evens. Hopefully that's the end of Iran's direct involvement. I'm sure their proxy war will continue. Marty, I think you make some really good points there. Let us know what you think. 0344 499 1000.
Unless you're pro-Palestine, then we need to get the watered down version of that shite.
In Texas, those people.
Because remember, we're owned by Rupert Murdoch, and this guy's a very staunch supporter of right-wing politics, extreme right-wing politics of the world.
People did on 87222. WhatsApp us that same number, 0344 499 1000. Tweet me at TalkTV or at Peter Cardwell as well. You can follow me on that one. We're going to talk to our panel next, not just about this, but on domestic issues in the UK as well. Stay with us here on Talk TV.
It looks like he's squeezing that shit. Right, he's going to his panel. Let's see. Nah. The Independent Republican might get here. No, look. I see if I was his doctor, I would say, mate, you've got cancer of the face. You know, one side of your face is like that, and the other side is like that. It's like you've got a big growth on it. It's like, was it Total Recall when there was somebody with two heads or something? No. No, I'm thinking about Men in Black when there was one of the aliens and it had like two heads coming out the same body. There was a wee head there. Something anyway along those lines, man. Look, I'm not even joking, look at him. Looks like he's got cancer of the fucking face. That or he's a fucking hamster and he's only half filled these fucking big fat fucking cheeks. And remember that guy will stand up there and tell you fucking no, you're a fucking stooge for Rupert Murdoch fucking foghorn talking fucking pit. Anyway, I digress. It's 11:30. I'm going to get out and like a lizard in the sun. It might still exist. Though I bet you it's away actually. Yep. Complete grey skies. With rain. Beautiful. See how long that sun lasted? It's amazing though. I'm not even joking, you can't see the sun, it's just a sheet of grey, but it still makes me look like Casper the fucking Ghost. Let me have a wee shifty in the chat if I can. So stick a wee thumbs up if you enjoy this and get a wee giggle and whatnot. Paul Harris, aka Tommy Phone Names. Hold on, I need to go back and get some context. The bankers and weapon makers are celebrating. That's very true. Peace seekers. No harm, no foul to air bases. We've supported the death cults. I suppose it pays to advertise. The new Hitler, the new Hitler. There's too many new Hitlers now. They need a new bad guy. Maybe they'll just like use one for a fucking comic book and say it enough and people will believe they exist. Oh, they've done that already. It's called ISIS and Al Qaeda. Random, faceless memes that all you do is need to put some cunt in a fucking dress and get them going with a severed head and up there, and we go. Send in the army. Nah, he didn't have the bollocks to go after blokes. A wee Highlander. AIDS and COVID's brought to you through Fauci. I know who you're talking about. Liars and turds. Like AI is marketing for computer programmers. They're nascent today. I know, mate, look how it's weird how, see, the camera and depending on the lighting, it does weird thing with the fucking colours or just, like, this isn't as blue as it looks. The Rangers top I've got looks a different colour than it actually is in real life. Sometimes I look like I've got a ginger beard if I grow it a wee bit. Sometimes my hair can look a bit ginger. Now it just looks fucking grey as a motherfucker. Pain in the arse getting a grey beard, man, because those wee grey bastards grow like whiskers. And a lot quicker for some reason. It's almost like, hey, I'm here, man, fucking making up for fucking lost time. Woo! You just you shave one day, the next day you've got a grey hair sticking out to here. You're like, what the fuck is this? But I use it like, I've got bad eyesight, so I use it like a cat uses its whiskers, you know, feel around. See if I can squeeze through some holes. So, Roberto, my man, I don't know when you're heading out for the shindig, but have a good time, my friend. If you know what I mean. Mike Graham. Too many golden Grahams. Cheered up a bit. Nice one, my man. Here comes the sun. Well, wait. Honestly, just look how... I don't know if that will even... It's just a big sheet of grey. I tells you. And I'm going to go and brave it. Alright, boob tubes, thanks for tuning in. There's a wee update of what's happening with the fallout for the Iran-Israel thing, so you know how it's getting framed. Let's summarise. It's an unprecedented attack that failed. Israel stopped 99% of its Silit Bang germs, of the drones. Israel has the legal right to respond. Iran didn't have the legal right to respond. So if Israel does respond, Iran has promised to respond, and thus we get in for the tit for tat shite, which where will that end up? Who knows? We've already seen the UK and the US and France swinging their dicks, saying that they were out shooting down the drones, out doing their fucking Top Gun shit. So that's good. And let's see if there is a response. Let's see if this weird shit happens every now and again. Right, it's the weirdest fucking thing. You know, I always used to beg myself the question, why are they changing shit when they're making stuff worse and not better? And it really used to bamboozle me, because it used to really seem like a step backwards. Like right now, I can't copy and paste something in my own description into the chat box. Probably doing something wrong. Why the fuck is that? Oh, that's really frustrating. I'm going to keep trying it until it works. Fucking work. That is scandalous. Right, let's see if this is what works now. Right, it was me just fucking up. No deep state Illuminati conspiracy yet. Aye, so sub, bail up, all that jazz. If anything else happens, if the world ends, I'll try and take the piss out of it. So thanks, Roberto. It's a psyop within a psyop within a psyop. You're right, bud. Mike Graham is. Right, thanks everybody. Stick a wee thumbs up. Stay tuned for later escapades. I'm going out and about. Oh man, there's the fucking sun coming out again. 4 seasons in one day. Get it? Got it. Good. Get cheese. No cats or cheese. Maybe only Iranians. Feelings were hurt in this family.
Clips, clips. And remember, notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell.